I've just logged into the GS1 user area, and this is how you're greeted there. Here you find the direct links to the GTIN manager or to the GEPIR database. But for now, let's just look at the GTIN manager. Always remember, access. The GTIN is your UDI DI. So this is the dashboard of the GTIN manager. And here is the most important information for you. So this is your company name. Then you have a basic number. This is with access right now, unfortunately. I think that's because we haven't registered any GTIN yet. Here you can see we have 0 products so far, but there's a capacity of 1. So I guess when we would register 1 GTIN, then this basic number would be without the access. And we need that later on. Okay, so here via this button, you can actually create your first GTIN. Let's do that. Now you're creating a new product. That means that you're associating your GTIN with an actual product. But what does product in this context mean? Product is the version or model of your software. Let's have a look at this label again. So here you have your GTIN and your application identifier. And this is the label for version 2.0.3 of your open device. So maybe in the future there will be a 2.0.4, but actually this GTIN will always be the same. Just the application identifier changes for that. But however, when you change this version number to version 3.0. something, then your GTIN changes. So a GTIN is valid for one version or model of software. I've prepared a small overview for that here. So let's take, for example, a blood pressure software. So there you have the first layer where it's just generally described as a blood pressure software. That's the basic UDI DI. Then you have a layer where the different versions or models of this software are described. Like, for example, you have a blood pressure software professional or a blood pressure software version 1. And those would have different UDI DIs, all of those versions. And as you've seen, the other numbers in the version number changing, like if this changes to 1 or the last digit changes to 4, then your application identifier would change. That means this one changes. That makes perfectly sense, I think. So you can have a blood pressure software professional that has been produced on this date, or you could have one that has been produced one day later. They would have different UDI PIs. All right. Then let's go back here. So we're describing one version or one model of our software. And this interface is actually more for physical devices, but we somehow have to deal with it. It asks strange questions like, is the product you're now describing a consumer unit? That means that a consumer would use it directly as opposed to this product being part of a larger product. So if it's a consumer unit, you answer yes here. Sorry for all the German here. I hope you can still understand it. Then you have the product level. So the product that we're describing here, which level has it. So you could have the product itself, you could have a primary packaging, or a secondary packaging. And for software, mostly it's Einzelstück Basiseinheit, which means it is just existing in itself as a base unit, and you're not considering the packaging here. So now we're getting to the name of the product, which is actually split into two parts. The first being the brand and the second being the product name. So in our case, when we look at our open device here, it doesn't really have a brand, unfortunately. So I'm using just Open Regulatory as a brand here, and the product name is Open Device. But now we have to consider which version or model of the device this is. So we could say something like Open Device Professional, or here in this case it would be Open Device 2. So Open Device 2. All right. And here at the end of each line, you have to choose which language this name is in. Okay, next question is net content of our product. Our product is a software, so it is not 1 liter or 1 milligram of software, but instead it is just one piece. Right. This Stück means piece. Next one is target markets. Here you can choose any market that you want to. Let's sell it, for example, in Germany, Austria, and Gibraltar. And the last question is category. That's just a general categorization. Here I've chosen Gesundheitswesen, which means healthcare sector, and then the subcategory materials for treatment. All right. You have even more options to describe your product here. If you look at the other tabs here, for example, you can add the weight of your product or the size or some details about the color or variant, but that should not be of our concern right now. We just stay here on this page, and here at the bottom, you can choose whether you want to save it now as a draft, as active, or as blocked. And if you put it on active and save it, then it will actually be published. And then you have those two options that you can also publish it in this GPeer database and in GS1's online catalog. Not really sure what that is for or how this could ever be useful. So you can either ignore it or tick it. Makes no difference. And then you hit Save Changes. All right. And then you have it here. Because I just saved it as a draft still. There are still the X's, but actually I have a small hack for you. So if you browse to this entry and you look in the address bar, you can see the GTIN without the X's. So now it's still in draft mode, but I would actually like to see this GTIN, and also I'd like to see this base number here. So I'm gonna activate the device. I'm gonna make some changes though. I don't want to sell it in Gibraltar anymore and also not in Austria. And I want to publish it, yes. And I'm gonna hit active here. Let's check if everything's good. Yep. And then I hit Save Changes. Now it says this product will be permanently linked to this GTIN and officially registered. So you can either now correct it or activate it, but let's do it. Let's activate our GTIN. Cool. All right. Now we can really see it here. Wonderful. We can use that and put that on the label here. behind the 01. And we can go to the dashboard, and yeah, we can still not see the base number. Okay, no problem. We'll find that one out.